Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn, and it is a great day because today I am joined by Brandon Johnson of Nova Film Co. He's based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and honestly, he has blown up in the last 4 years. He started his business in 2020 and now is charging upwards of $10,000 per wedding film. But more importantly, we talk a lot about like his journey and how he has been very intentional and self-aware and how that has helped him to book the right kinds of couples. And we walk through his Instagram. He's just had a video that hit 17 million views and the pros and cons of going viral. We talk about a lot of stuff, but honestly, I leave this episode just really excited and inspired. I'm so excited to have met Brandon and excited to have him back on the podcast for sure in the future. Before we hop into today's episode, I do want to mention our friends over at the Creative Cabana. They do website and branding and copy and all kinds of everything you need to take your brand to the next level. Austin and his crew at the Creative Cabana have helped hundreds of wedding filmmakers transform their brand, take it to that next level so they can attract those ideal couples. If you haven't checked them out, be sure to check them out over at our website today, howtofilmweddings.com/creative. And without further ado, we're going to head into this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. All right, well, welcome Brandon Johnson to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My man, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm great, man. Thank you guys for having me. I just want to say before we get started that I'm a huge fan. And actually, when I first started my education into weddings, you guys were one of the first people that I found, and I watched so many of your older videos about just all the logistics and education behind filming weddings. So you guys are very much so a big piece into my success. So paying my homage now to you guys. Yeah, man, absolutely. So it's full circle here right now.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. We appreciate you, and it's been inspiring to watch you grow. You've blown up recently, just so many new followers. Your work is insane. We wanted to have you on just to kind of talk about your story a little bit, but I'd love to dig into kind of what you've been doing right, because it seems like in a world that's full of all kinds of different lanes to get to success, you found one that really worked with you. So I'd just like to dig into that today with you. Before we get into that though, who are you? Where are you based? When did you start doing weddings? Give us a little bit of the backstory of Brandon Johnson.
I'll happily just word vomit about myself. No, but yeah, so I'm Brandon Johnson. I'm a videographer. I'm based down in Atlanta, Georgia. And obviously a big portion of what I do is wedding videography. And I got started back in 2020, right around COVID, actually. I made a huge career shift. I was in healthcare. COVID came along, and I always did video as just a little hobby. In fact, me and my wife, we had a YouTube channel, and that was actually doing really, really well for itself back then. And then COVID came along, and healthcare was just not the place for me to work. And I started taking video a little bit more seriously, and I think I was just in the right place at the right time. My wife's sister got engaged, and she got married in November of 2020. And she asked me to film her wedding. Now, at this time, I had no knowledge of filming a wedding. All she knew is that I had a camera, I had some microphones from YouTube, and she wanted her wedding filmed, but didn't want to pay an egregious amount of money. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I started, prepping a couple months before, and I was like, maybe I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. So I always tell people that I invested heavily in YouTube University. And the two people that I obviously have to pay homage to is you guys and Matt Johnson as well. Between the two of you guys' channels, I learned so much about wedding videography. Set in on a bunch of live streams from different creators and really started to hone in on wedding videography. Filmed that video, it did amazing on social media. It kind of springboarded into other bookings, and then it's just been a roller coaster ride from there. It hasn't slowed down since then. And yeah, that's kind of the bulk of who I am as a filmmaker outside of the videography space. I am married. I do have a wife and 2 kids. I got married myself back in 2018. And I'll talk a little bit really briefly about that in just a sec. But I do have two really amazing kids, my 3-year-old son, Aiden, and my 1-year-old daughter, Ava. So they kind of keep me busy and help me with the work-life balance outside of behind my computer screen editing all day. But I did want to come back to our wedding, my own wedding. Back in 2018, we actually elected, well, I say we, but I'm more so saying me. I elected not to have a wedding videographer for my own wedding. And obviously this was before I was in the space, so I didn't understand the significance of it. And my wife was dead set on wanting to have one, and she was thinking longevity. She knew we were going to have kids in the future, wanted to show the wedding to the kids, grandkids. I was thinking in the moment and looking at the pockets and how much we were having to pay out for this wedding. And we ended up not getting one, and it was completely on me why we did not get one. So it's kind of crazy that now I'm doing the exact same thing. Couple months go by after the wedding is over. This is into 2019, and my wife's uncle, we go to a cookout, and my wife's uncle is like, hey, y'all come in the house. I have something that I've been meaning to give y'all. Unbeknownst to either one of us, he was walking around with like an old school like camcorder, like one of the big fat ones that like you kind of prop on your shoulder from back in the day, and it even had like the little cassette that went in it. He was going around filming like bits and pieces of our wedding day. So he got some groom prep, some bride prep. He got the ceremony, most of it. Obviously we couldn't hear too much of the audio, but we still have some footage from it. He got our first dances, our send off, so many pieces that we thought we would never see again from a video aspect. And we eventually got the cassettes digitized to a DVD, and then got the DVD digitized to MP4 files. And we sat down and watched like 2 hours of just raw footage of our wedding day. And man, when I tell you that was like the most pivotal part of my career, going back and seeing something that I thought was lost forever. It was tear jerking. We actually recorded it, and it's up on the YouTube channel now. But that was a pivotal moment. In that moment, I was like, man, these are memories that I wrote off as not being important enough. And ever since then, I've made it a pact to provide just excellent quality video work for all of my clients so that they can have that same realization after the fact. So that's kind of my story and how I got into the space.
Well, shoot, man, you almost made me cry once already. No, I think I think it's cool to see like the human side and the realization. Like I also did not have my wedding filmed, which is funny. That you just can't get that stuff back, and so that does shape the way that you shoot, the way you edit, the way you run your business. And it's cool to hear about like kind of the starting point of Nova Film Co. So we're at 2024 now. What's the business look like today? Like what's different? Have you raised your prices any? Where are things at just 4 years into it?
Yeah, I get imposter syndrome a lot, and I feel like a lot of creators do, and it's a lot of like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. Like, am I good enough to raise my price? Am I good enough to charge this? And then there's the other side that's like, I'm doing really good at I'm really giving it my all, and I think that I'm charging fair for what I am providing to my clients, and not only the video the video making, but the client experience part of it too. But when we got started back in 2020, my first wedding for my wife's sister, obviously that was free because I knew absolutely nothing. But I tell you what, I was running around that wedding with my monopod and my 2 Tascams, and you couldn't tell me anything. You would think I was like a 10-year vet. And then it's been kind of a positive increase since then. I think after her wedding, the next 3, I think I remember charging like either $250 or $500. Extremely low. But it was very important for me to charge what I was worth. And for me, I didn't feel comfortable charging what I saw a lot of other creators charging because I didn't feel like I was worth that much. And to be completely honest, I was not worth that much. At that point, you don't have the reps in. You don't have the experience of camera failures, mic failures, lighting, being able to just shoot on the go, that kind of run and gun thing that now has just become second nature to us for weddings. It's very important to get those reps in. So at the very beginning, we charged a lot less than where we are now. And now we're charging anywhere between 5 and 10K for weddings, just depending on the package, obviously. And it's still kind of a hills and valleys type situation. It's a lot of supply and demand for our pricing. When we get into the slower seasons, we adjust our pricing. And then when we have just an influx of bookings and we're like, we need to slow this down a little bit, then we'll increase prices as the market shifts for that. But yeah, it's been a really good learning process. And I think that I used to think so much about pricing and like my worth when I was first getting started. And I really wish that when I was first getting started, I spent more time thinking about what I can provide to my client, not worry about so much of what the dollar amount I'm going to stamp on top of this, but what experience can I provide to my client to make them see the worth of these 4 or 5 digit weddings, packages that I'm bringing to them. And once I started looking at wedding videography from not so much as a paycheck, but more of how can I make this couple's wedding experience the absolute best that it can possibly be. That's what really catapulted my business from just crabs in the barrel, with all the bunch at the, in the Atlanta market, to kind of being, one of the higher regarded and highly requested companies. And I say that from a place of love and respect for all other companies. But I think that's one piece that has really catapulted my business, and something that has really worked very well for me is just looking at it from a couple's perspective. And I think one thing that has really helped is having planned my own wedding and having been through the wedding planning process myself. So everything that we do from start of the onboarding process to video delivery is done from a standpoint of what would I have wanted? What would we have wanted during our wedding planning process from a wedding vendor? And I think couples appreciate that. They see that and they understand that and they know that. And that's something that has really worked well for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And it's cool that you get going and you realize, okay, I need some education. I need YouTube University. I need mentorship. I need something. But I think that a lot of us don't put the filter, that we're looking through as, hey, these are real people that we really want to serve. And they're playing checkers, not chess, right? It's just like, oh, I need money today. So yeah, I can charge that planner a little bit extra to do that behind the scenes, whatever for her or him or whatever it is, instead of being like, oh, well, if I make these moves today, if I charge what I'm worth today and I start taking the time to work on things, get those reps in, in the future, 2 or 3 moves down the road, that's when it's going to start to really pay off. So you started in 2020. You did your sister-in-law's wedding. You're making $250. That's $500. That's that's not bad. But going from that to up to 10K in 4 years, I'm a little jealous because it took me, I think, 9 years in my business to get to 10K. And we talk about it on the podcast a lot. It's not just so much like, hey, let's get to 10K. You might be in a market that's just not possible, but I think the idea, and people will always be like, oh, well, they're not really charging that or whatever. Believe what you would like. I know that some people don't really think that can be done, but what was the big things your mindset? You got that filter. Okay, I'm going to take care of people. I'm going to film this. I say it to people all the time. I'm going to film your wedding like I'm filming a wedding for my daughter, or I'm putting you first, your family. I'm going to do whatever I can to give you I'm going to fight for you. You don't know that you need this footage this much. You don't know how much that footage of grandma is going to mean to you. I've done this for 17 years now. I know how much value, like I know the value. I'm going to film it in such a way where I'm giving you an heirloom, all that kind of stuff. But were there any breakthrough kind of moments, or what steps do you, like if you're looking back in the journey of going from 0 to 10K wedding films, you've got your filter, you got your mindset. I think a lot of us don't pay attention to the fact that there's little things that because we have our spidey senses, because we're thinking about, oh, if we do this, that might lead to this, that leads to this. If you're kind of tracing your steps of like, okay, I was starting and now I'm here. Someone out there's listening saying, hey, I'm charging $500. I'm charging $1,000. I want to get to 10K. I got my mindset. Now what do I do? What kinds of things come to your mind in your business where you're like, I started doing this, or this wedding came along, or does anything come to your mind?
Yes, one thing in particular. The client experience is one piece that I cannot preach about enough. Your clients, from looking at the wedding industry from a videographer's lens, our clients are our customers. It's our job in this service industry to make them happy, right? They want to know that they are not just another number to you. And some kind of way you need to have a process that makes them feel inclusive. That's very important. But the one piece that stood out to me is I stopped paying so much attention to my social media and my website and started putting so much more time and effort into two things. One, my ability to operate my camera the correct way. And two, which piggybacks off of the first one, making better films. I think from a client aspect, every single piece of video, photo, whatever media you put out is an opportunity for a client to see what you are capable of. If you are not to a place where, and this is one of those things, and this is just me as a person, I'm a guy that keeps it real. If your videos are not up to par to charge 10K, go back to the drawing board. Look at other videographers in the space and get creativity or get inspiration from them. If you are in a rut, and this is one thing that I cannot preach about enough. We get in these ruts with filming weddings. You go through the motions because most wedding days are pretty much the same. You do things the exact same thing and you end up getting the same result at the end. If you're in the position where you're not being able to charge what you feel like you're worth, or you want to be able to step up into a new category of, tiering for pricing, I would say be real with yourself. Are your films to par where you would pay X amount? Would you pay $10,000 for the videos that you're putting out? Putting feelings aside, you know how much you work. I know that everyone puts in so much time and effort and energy for filming and editing, but at the end of the day, is the end product worth $10,000? Is that, with the client experience, worth $10,000? And for me, I had to be real with myself. And for those first 10 or 15 films, to my clients, they loved them, but me looking back at them now, I cringe, right? But everyone has to start. You have to get those reps in and learn your editing flow and your sort of your niche that you stay in for your video creation. And I think it's really important for us to be real with ourselves. If we're not where we want to be, we have to do something to better ourselves, whether that be better maneuverability with our cameras, or changing something on wedding day, changing something with our editing process, taking inspiration and utilizing that for our own films. Something has to change. And once I was real with myself and understood that my films are not to where I feel like I can charge $10,000, I need to change something. And once I had those inner conversations with myself, that was when I saw my business take off. Because if I'm confident in the product that I'm putting out, clients see that and they know that. I can't remember the podcast that I was listening to, but it was one of the ones that one of the videographers in the industry makes, and they were telling that it's kind of like when you're going grocery shopping, and you've got the generic version and you've got the all natural version that's like 3 times the price. a lot of us will look at that natural version or that organic version and be like, this is probably better for me just because it's a little bit more expensive. It might be the same product as like the Walmart version, but for whatever reason, they find that their product is so much better and they're confident in charging more because they know that people will invest in it. And in a way that's very similar to the wedding videography space. Once you know that the work that you're putting out there is worth what you're charging, clients will see that and they will come flocking to that. And I think that's one thing that really helped me. I think that's one thing that helped.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because it's like, we talk about this, put these goggles on of being like knowing how you want to serve people, but then also looking back in the mirror and saying, be real with yourself. Like you said here, it's like the self-awareness. We talk to a lot of wedding filmmakers, and it's really hard sometimes to get out from something that you've worked on so hard and say, no, I put all this effort into this. This is just as good as so-and-so's film or what. And you're like, objectively looking at this, the skin tones are bad, the audio's bad, there's camera movement you're not supposed to have, the focal length is all wrong, the bokeh's bad, it's just, the music doesn't match, whatever it is, you see all these things. And if you're not willing to, like, we're wedding filmmakers. I mean, we're not running for president. We're not, like, our job is very important, but like, you can't take yourself so seriously that you're like unable to see the forest for the trees, right? And so I think that's really important.
Yes. And you mentioned something so important. I think that a lot of us creatives, and I'm so guilty of this myself, and I don't want this to come off like I'm a perfect human being. Any of my followers on social media know that I am the most upfront, true, real person, and I'm going to post my failures along with my wins. But one thing that we often struggle with is being able to criticize our own self. And it's so easy for us to say, I'm the best in my market. I'm the best videographer in Atlanta. I should be charging $20K. I should be like world renowned, got all the awards on my belt. But there comes to be a point where you have to say, if I want to get better, I have to look at my processes and understand, where can I streamline something? Where can I get better at something? Because until you objectively look at yourself in the mirror, you have to understand that growth is possible and it's capable of happening, but you have to be able to take that step back and know where you need to grow. And I feel like that's what holds a lot of filmmakers, photographers, videographers back, is putting ourselves on this pedestal. And for whatever reason, this industry is very much so filled with people that think that they know it all. And there's a lot of people that do know a lot, but none of us know it all. None of us are perfect. All of us make mistakes. I mean, even the best of the best still make mistakes. Color is off, skin tones are off, we didn't hit record. There's so many different mistakes that can happen on a wedding day. And the mindset that I have is, my last wedding has to be, my next wedding has to be a little bit better than my last. There's one thing that I need to change to make the last wedding be a little bit worse than the next wedding that I do. And I think that mindset is very pivotal to just always be in a position of self improvement and constantly working to better yourself. So yeah, that's one thing that I feel like is really, really pivotal for the success of any videographer, is just being able to see like where you can improve yourself and knowing how to educate yourself to get to that point that you want to be at. Yeah.
If you are like most wedding filmmakers, you are constantly fighting against being completely overwhelmed from your backlog. We get it, and that is why we are so excited to bring you howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing, a brand new place for you to find some of the best editors on the planet to help you get out from under the weight of your backlog. And the best part is we have personally vetted these companies to ensure that you aren't wasting your time finding editors. Whether you are looking for full-blown editors like Wedditor or brideandgroom.video, or if you're just needing someone to cull your films like Wedding Post House, we have a solution for you. So head over to howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing to check out our curated list of outsourcing experts today. That's howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing. Yeah, and I think it's different for different people. Maybe you're out there listening, you're like, John, Brandon, I've got my shooting and editing as on lockdown. Why am I not charging more? Why am I not, elevating? What? Maybe it's your branding. Maybe it's your messaging. Maybe it's your website. Maybe it's the way you do your social media. And that's where it's just really good to have a community of people, accountability with a few other people that will shoot you straight and say, hey, this isn't that great. This is like your headshot on your website looks terrible, bro, or whatever it is. Like all these things matter to your success. And so one thing that I like with your specific branding, I feel like you just rebranded maybe recently.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about why you decided to rebrand and what all that meant. Like what all you put into like the rebrand.
Yeah, so it was a very strategic process. When we first got started, our original name was Memory Films, and it was a name that was indicative of filming weddings because obviously that was the bulk of that was everything that I was doing. The name was very cliche. I felt like it just did not represent who I was growing into, and also the words memory and films from an SEO standpoint was a nightmare. My own website and rankings and articles and publications and all that stuff were being bogged down by so many other films, and just the SEO was just terrible. And that was a piece that I had a business coach work with me on, that she basically audited my whole business and ripped me from top to bottom, just tore me apart. And that was one of the main pieces that she said that I really needed to work on, was some type of name change that was a little bit better to get clients to get to me a little bit easier. Prior to that, SEO was one of the last things that I worried about. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I am still not the best. I'm not a professional in that aspect. And I do have a company that helps me out a lot with that. But I do know from the inner workings of our SEO on Google, it was very hard to even find me. And even like a basic search, wedding videographer in Atlanta, it was hard to even find my website. And that was one piece that really catapulted us into doing a name change. So as of recent, weddings is still like my bread and butter. That's what I will always be known for. But we got a really big opportunity to film some reality TV work here in Atlanta. We've been doing some more production stuff, and the business is scaling from not only just weddings, but now into a lot of corporate videography too. And we wanted a name that would still be able to house all the work that we do from a wedding aspect, but we also wanted something that could still represent who we are from a corporate client perspective. And Memory Films just really wasn't cutting it. And then there was all the drama with the SEO stuff too. So we did launch a new name, Nova Film Co., in January of 2024. And it's been really good. The name change has really helped. I think that it's been just done wonders for SEO. And we feel so much happier with how the name just represents who we are and where we see ourselves going from terms of like production staff and crew, and still having the wedding stuff on the forefront of the image too. So it's been really nice. It's a headache from like a legal perspective, with IRS and tax and all that type of stuff. But from like a client outward perspective, it's a pretty simple process, and it's been really nice.
Yeah, I know this much, like to push yourself up to, you got self-aware when it came to Memory Films. Sounds like it could be a lot of things. It sounds like it could be a company for memory care. It's like there's a lot of different things. Nova Film Co., like even just seeing your social media, it's like, oh, this brand is legit. Like we like the, like they seem creative. They seem like, and it's again, just getting aware like, oh, this isn't fitting where we're going. Yes, this is going to be a lot of work and a lot of money and a lot of headache and whatever, but like, is this the right thing to do for our brand? I'm playing chess. I'm not playing checkers. Like today is going to be harder, but tomorrow or the next day, it's going to be much easier. And it's like you get to choose your version of what, of hard. Is it going to be hard work today, or is it going to be hard work in 3 years? And I think that that's kind of the thing that I'm noticing with you is just you're willing to delay, the gratification in order to be real with yourself, to say this needs to get better. But the payout is so much better whenever you've looked internally and said, yeah, my films need some work. I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to get 1% better every wedding. I'm going to get, 1% better every day or whatever that is. And you look back and you're like, oh, it's been a year and look at my films. They're so much better. There's so much, more value to these films. People are willing to pay me more. And I know you've been going through all this like branding and everything. I would like to hear a little bit of your story when it comes to attracting your kind, like especially with weddings, clients that you want to work with. I know social media has really popped, especially your Instagram in the last little bit. What is your mindset when it comes to getting more, like attracting more of your ideal couples? How has social media played into that? Because I think that's also a huge piece in getting yourself to where you're at today.
Yeah, that's really, really important. In fact, most of our bookings come from Instagram, and that's kind of why I push so much on Instagram. Part of our goals for this year is to attack our other social media channels. We do okay on TikTok, but I'm not super active over there. YouTube, there's cobwebs over there right now, but that's one of the things that we want to continue to work toward. But Instagram is where we get most of our leads from. And I do coaching calls with a lot of videographers that are starting out. And one thing that I always tell them is your clients want to see who you actually are. From a wedding videography perspective, these couples are welcoming you into the most intimate day, arguably, in their entire life. The only thing that might beat that is a child being born, right? They want to know who in the world is going to be filming their wedding. And I think that being so active on social media gives my clients sort of like a peek into my life and who I am. And that paired with a bunch of work on the onboarding side, by the time the wedding day comes, it's like I'm like extended family for all of my clientele. And that is so pivotal for helping with, I'm going to get back to the original question of attracting ideal clientele, but from a standpoint of just being able to produce better films, I find that my clients feel so much more comfortable in front of me, in front of my second shooter, in front of my assistant, cameras, lights, all this stuff, if they know who we are. And I think what a lot of videographers do is they get a lead, have a meeting, send the contract, get the deposit, don't talk to the couple until like a couple weeks before the wedding. And that's just doing such a disservice. Get to know your couples, allow them to get to know you, create some type of process. Like we have an automated process where, and I'll just break it down just real quick. Part of what we found really successful is we have a process where Honeybook sends automated emails. We have them tiered out based on weeks. And I have clients basically do like homework. And it's really exciting for me because I get to learn so much about them. Like 1 week I'll have them send me like a list of their favorite songs just so that I can start getting an idea of their music taste. 1 week I'll have them record me a video of like reenacting their first time they met. Or there's just so many like different little pieces that I interweave into my onboarding process so that by the time the wedding day comes, I'm not, what's the groom's name again? How did y'all meet? Which one's the bride? What does she look like? No, these are people that like, I really, really know them and they know me. And then on the flip side of that, I send them so much about me and my family and invite them to join social media and follow me on there so that they can see like real world. And I think that helps a lot. But going back to your question, attracting ideal clientele. I think that we have gotten really good at choosing couples that understand and appreciate the worth of videographers. I'm not going to get on here and spark debate for photographers and videographers from a wedding videography perspective. But there are some couples that find wedding photography to be an absolute must-have. And videography may be if we can fit it. And then there's the flip side of that. There's couples that are like, I gotta have wedding photo and I gotta have wedding video as well. They're both equally as important. And I found a way to really hone in on those couples on the latter side that really want to have photo and video. The couples that see the worth, they see, like we said, thinking long term, and they see the importance of investing in something that only happens one time in their life. I think that posting videos that I want to, let me back up. Posting videos that will attract the clientele that I want to continue to shoot for has really, really helped. It's been a lot more of a selective process for what we put out on social media because we think about everything from a very tactful standpoint. Anything that we put out, we use that as marketing to hopefully bring in exactly what we just shot. So prime example, if you're a videographer out there and you want to get into destination film work, if your Instagram does not have any destination film work on your portfolio, how in the world are destination clients going to know that they can trust you with doing that type of work? So that's a piece that we've really taken a big hard look at to make sure that everything that we're promoting from a client perspective is pushing us into territories where we're getting in front of the type of people that we want to be shooting for as well. And those type of people are people that really love and appreciate the art that is wedding videography. And then we do a lot of work with targeted ads. Some people are against running ads. Some people are all for it, but we do some targeted ads so that we're targeting people in the specific areas that we want to film in. We have bucket list destinations. I have a whole list of places over here on my board that I want to shoot in. So we go really heavy in targeting ads for those locations. And yeah, we found a system that really works well to get us in front of the right set of people. And I think it's worked well. Yeah.
I love all of that. I like the intention behind it. I wanted to you answered a lot of things there. Thanks for answering all my questions. One thing I wanted to circle back on is you do such a really good job on your social media of showcasing who you are in a way that is attractive and relatable and easy. You're not you're showing clips of you with your kids. The first video I saw that I think it might be your most viewed video is the 7 questions or something. I think it was to ask your mom. And if you don't go over to Nova Film Co. on Instagram after this and watch it, I don't know what's wrong with you. But it was just so the reason that it's so good is not just because it went viral and has 17 million views on it. But it really speaks to the core of who you are and what you care about with your wedding films. And then I saw the 7 questions, or you did one about asking for your dad too, and you had footage of your kids on there, and you're just in the kitchen, and it's it is so relatable. And you said it's people want to know, unless you're ultra luxury trying to do celebrity weddings, and I don't even, but people want to be oh, I really like John, or I really like Brandon. He's a dad, he's got kids, he's relatable. I get it. And then when you share that part, I'm not saying you have to use your kids or to do any of that, but once you share part of when you share part of your life with people, especially with your couples, and then they see it and they can trust you more, by the time the wedding day gets there, they're oh, I've been following along you and your story, and you're vulnerable, and you're a real person, and you've got faults, and you've got all that. It's a very relational business that we're in. And so like when people can look at what you're putting out there and say, that's the kind of person I want at my wedding. Their values match with my values. Like you posted that video, questions that you would, want to ask your mom. You set it up, you interviewed her and asked these questions. I want to ask you about that, because what gave you the idea for that? And then what happened when you started noticing oh, wait a sec, this thing is, getting more views and more do you find it to have been very helpful? I know a lot of people that go viral, they get a lot of followers that they don't want. What was that whole process like?
Yeah. Positives and negatives. The world of social media is a crazy place. And it's always the videos that you don't put any time and effort to that seem to get the most traction and do the best, I feel like. But yeah, my inspiration was, I saw this post on TikTok, and it was we spend so much time documenting everyone else around us that we don't document enough for ourselves. And that was true, and it hit home. And that person was preaching to the choir. I wish I remember who it was, but just mindlessly scrolling on TikTok one night, don't remember who it was. But and I had that kind of self-revelation that I spend so much of my time editing videos for all my couples and giving them these heirlooms, these keepsakes that they can have forever. And I was like, why do I not do this for myself? My family's really small. I'm an only child. My mom's an only child. My mom's getting up there in age. And she actually came to the house, and we threw her a little surprise 60th birthday party. And that was the whole reason she was here. And the night before she came, I saw that video, and I was like, I need to document more of my mom. She's getting up there in age. And that's just one of those things that you never want to think about. Our moms are our superheroes since day one. And I started, funny enough, I went through my phone and I tried to find as many videos of my mom as I could. I had a bunch of photos, but videos were few and far between. I had a couple of we were at a restaurant singing happy birthday. She wasn't really talking. And then a couple of little odds and ends from college graduation. She, videos, big moments in my life. First time holding my children, different little things like that. But I was I don't have a lot about my mom. And me thinking long term, I thought if my mom unfortunately did not wake up tomorrow, how would I show my kids who this amazing woman was? And that's just not something that I can do with just the pictures that are in my camera roll. And we spend so much time with our parents, and I have such a deep love for my mom. I'm trying not to get emotional here, but it was so crazy to me that someone that was so important and so pivotal in my life, I just don't have enough footage of them. So I told my mom, bring something nice to wear. So the night after the party, I tell her I got something that we got to record. So she knows I'm always up to some little antics filming something. And she kept pestering me about what is it? I want to prepare for it. I don't want to fumble over my words. Because all I told her is I got to ask her some questions. And I told her I'm not going to tell you. And I sat her down, just completely tore my house apart and made it into a little makeshift studio in the dining room, and it was 10 o'clock at night, so no natural lighting. I just had a key light and a hair light and just went at it. And I sat her down and I told her, I literally just want you to tell me everything about yourself. Start from as far back in your childhood as you can remember. Tell me everything. If you think I already know about it, tell it to me again. And it was the most emotional conversation I have ever had with my mom. I thought that me and my mom were like this, and there was so much about her that I had no clue about. Relationships, aspirations, career changes, dating, and just so many different things. Talking about like her first couple of days with me, first time mom, her wedding day, what that was like. So many different memories that I had no clue about. And funny enough, I wasn't going to make the video, and the video that's posted on Instagram. And I was like, no, this is just something that kind of needs to be just for me and my family to hold on to and keep safe. Because you don't need to share, I feel like you don't need to share everything to social media. But then I'll go to bed, I wake up the next morning, and I'm like, nah, like last night was like so monumental. People really need to see just a snippet of this so that hopefully I can encourage other people to do the exact same thing. Because if I thought that me and my mom were like super duper close and I learned so much about her, I bet there's other people out here that are like the same way. And I posted that video, and I remember I posted it, and then I went outside and started playing with the kids, and my mom was jumping on the trampoline with us. And I come back inside and look at my phone maybe like 2 hours later, and it's like at 100K. And I'm like, Mom, I think we might be onto something here. Something's popping off. And so my mom is not on social media. She does not have any, like, she can't fathom like large numbers, like videos going viral. That's like completely out of her retrospective like possibilities. So she was like, 100,000. Oh, that's crazy, Brandon. And a couple days go by, and then before I know it, it's at 1 million views. So I call my mom up, and I'm like, this video that we made, it's at 1 million views, like 1 million times this has been watched. And she dropped the phone, and she was like, I can't believe that you got me in front of 1 million people without me having my hair done. Like, that's all she was worried about, was how she was looking. But from there, it just continued to catapult. And it, like, yeah, now I think it's at like 17 million and something. And when I tell you that's been my best thing that's happened in my career, man. Not from a standpoint of it going viral, the numbers, the followers, none of that. It's more so been the messages. I've gotten thousands of messages from people saying this video gave me so much inspiration to reopen that relationship. Me and my mom have never been close. This really like re-sparked our relationship. Or I learned so much about my mom. Or I've had a couple people message me, hey, I saw your video back in January. I did it. My mom unfortunately just passed away. Thankfully, because of you, now I have videos of my mom. That's deep, man. It's deep. We have so much possibility to make good in this world through social media, and it's deep to see that you're inspiring others to do good work, and it's nice. It's nice. But from a standpoint of followers, from a business aspect, it's been positives and it's been negatives. We've gained a lot of followers, but not all followers are good followers, because you still want your followers to be intact for the work that you consistently put out. So what we're learning is a lot of the followers that we're gaining, we have to navigate to make sure that they're sticking around, and we're still meshing within the education that we provide to videographers and everything. So, I mean, with any viral video, you're going to see some hills and valleys. You see some ups and you see some downs. People are going to follow you. Then they're going to see your next video and they're like, well, wait a second, this isn't what I followed this guy for. So it's been some ups and downs, but ultimately it's been a lot of new supporters, a lot of really good business opportunities, and a lot of positive has come out of it. Yeah, it's been great, man. It's been great.
Man, I really appreciate that. I think that we see the shiny numbers next to videos or things, and we've talked to different people on the podcast about it before, but like I think so much of our time is focused on how to appease the algorithm or how to you know, get the notification, the likes, the hearts, the whatever. And I think going viral obviously is awesome for your business. But like you said, like if you just go viral to go viral, like if you're just trying to think, oh, well, this could be good attention. Like I need more likes and I need that dopamine hit. And I'm just going to, do whatever. I'm going to treat people poorly, whatever I have to do to go viral. So I get a big number next to my name. I'm cool with that. I'll just do that. The people that focus on that, I think, are playing, the game of checkers. They're not playing chess. Sorry. But like for someone like you that like when you hear a little bit of your backstory and like what's important to you and why you're filming weddings and corporate stuff and what all that is, like what you created about the questions to ask your mom or the videos I've seen since that have, some of them have popped off, not as much as the 17 million one, but like, it's all in the vein of what I would assume you want Nova Film Co. to represent. And if it goes viral, that's great. If it doesn't, great. But the North Star isn't, okay, what do I need to do now to get the next one to go to 18 million or 20? Because that never ends. And you're going to get all these followers you just don't really care about. And so intention, it seems like you've been very intentional from the beginning with like knowing to be self-aware, to know how to serve people, to see your work and say, this needs to get better, that needs to get better. I need to make these hard changes with my website or my branding and say, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to focus on this. And I'm just going to lean into being real and being a real person that's doing the things that matter to me. And what that has done for you, it's catapulted you into a massive amount of followers, which is what most people are aiming for anyway. And then the right kinds of clientele that are like knocking at your door and the impact that you want to have.
And all of that is so true. But any videographers out there that may feel a little bit of a gut punch and feel like your followers aren't where you want them to be. Followers don't matter. They don't matter. The only thing that really matters in terms of a wedding videographer is that we're pulling in the ideal clients that we want to serve and that we're able to pay our bills. There are plenty of videographers that are out there with 1,000 followers that are crushing it. And they're filming for amazing couples, producing amazing work, and they're staying booked. And on the flip side of it, there are plenty of videographers out there that have had those hits and have the tens of thousands of followers, and they still don't have the process down to get those clients in the door. And in the grand scheme of things, I think we think so much about numbers. We think way too much about numbers, and it's the name of the game, right? All of us want to seem like we're doing, really, really good. And unfortunately, we associate doing really good with lots and lots of numbers. If you're happy with where you are, if you feel like you're producing amazing quality work, if you're bringing in amazing clients that love you for your work, that's all that really matters. The numbers are going to come. The repetition stays consistent. The numbers are going to come. The clientele is going to continue to fall in, and that's all that really matters. I think sometimes we as creatives spend way too much time focusing on the negatives. I wish I had as many followers as this guy, or my work is just as good as this guy that has X amount of followers. And that's just a toxic game that you have to get out of. As crazy as it is to say, once I stopped worrying about my followers and videos doing well, there's some videos I put out may get 2,000 views. Some will get millions, like we just talked about. I put out what I feel like I want my business to be known for. I put out education that I want to help other creatives to get better in their craft. And I said this on Jimmy's podcast with Second Society. I think of video creation and social media from an aspect of, if I can help one person out there have some type of inspiration, help one person get better, help one person in their videography journey, just one person, then all of it is worth it. If I help more, great. But all I'm aiming to do with every single video that I post is I hope this inspires or helps one single person. And then that mindset has allowed me to get out of the numbers, get out of the number game, and know that as long as I'm helping one person, I feel like I'm doing my part in the world. And that's been a really positive, less toxic way for me to view social media. And when I started thinking about that and putting out quality over quantity, it's been night and day for the business. Yeah.
Incredible. All right, we're out of our time for today, but before we roll, Brandon, if people want to follow you or find you, where's the best place to connect with you if they just want to say hey? And then also, before we hit record, you were telling me about some new clothing stuff you had going on. I'd love for you to be able to talk about that. So tell me where to find you and what's up with that.
Okay, so my social media, everything is novafilm.co, N-O-V-A film.co. And then we recently just launched a clothing brand specifically aimed at creatives, photographers, videographers, producers, everybody. We've got something for every single person. So that new venture is called Creative Beings. And that's creativebeings.co on Instagram and all other social medias as well. So we've got, we just released our alpha line for that. It's 55 products and a bunch of shirts, sweatshirts and hoodies, all for creatives and believers. And it's been absolutely amazing bringing some high quality apparel for photographers and videographers. So yeah, that's how to find me. And yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This has been amazing.
Dude, it's so good to get to finally meet you. I've been excited to have you on the podcast for a while. Love just being like your smile is amazing. If you're not watching on YouTube,
Thanks,
just put a smile on my face today. And yeah, man, I think it's really important to hear what we heard today from you. And I thank you for the time. I know you only have so many hours in a day. So thanks for being on today. And
Absolutely.
Listeners, go over and follow this guy and send him a message for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, that does it for this week's podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, just do us a favor, head over to Instagram today at How to Film Weddings and just send us a DM real fast to let us know what you thought about this episode with Brandon of Nova Film Co. Again, check out howtofilmweddings.com/creative to check out Creative Cabana and everything that they do for our websites and our branding. It's a great place to go if you feel stuck with your website today. That's all I have today. So until next time, we will see you.